Welcome to our weekly Mitzvah Shabbos program. Today I want to share with you an unusual mitzvah campaign that the Rabbi started in the year 1988 Sunday after Parshas was Chanon Shabbos Nachmu, with very, very important heroes. And the Rebbe put much keiches into this mitzvah. But not too many people, even Chabad, Shluchim, Anash, know about this mitzvah. Many Shluchim never heard of this mitzvah, and the Rebbe put a lot of keiches in this. But before I will tell you what the mitzvah is, I want to say a Maimer HaMuzker. The year that the Rebbetzin, Chaim Mushke, passed away, or after she passed away, put it that way, the Rebbe's Hanhogis changed in many ways. Let me just tell you just a few. The Rebbe stopped farbringing in the weekdays. He only farbringed on Shabbos and Yontif. Used to be farbringen Yutas Kislev, big farbringenish, long farbringenish, important farbringenish. The same thing was Yud Shvat. The same thing was Purim. The same thing was Yud Beis Tammuz and others. That stopped. Only Shabbos and Yontif. Another thing the Rebbe stopped after Rebbetzin Chaim Mushke's passing away was Michtovim Klolim. There used to be every Yontif, before Pesach, before Sukkot, before Rosh Hashanah, before Shavuos, used to be a Michtov Kloli. The Rebbe stopped that. But what happened was, as I have here the letter from Rabbi Groner writes that the Rebbe called him in, and the Rebbe told him a nekuda, and he said that about the previous Michtov Kloli, I don't know which one, there is a shaykhs, a connection to that Yontif, and that they should print. But the Rebbe stopped new Michtovim Klolim then. Even then, Rabbi Groner writes, after the Rebbe stopped, the Rebbe gave a nekuda. He had to call Rabbi Mindel to okay it. And the Rebbe says until he okays it, it cannot come out. And that happened once. I think it was Pesach. Rabbi Mindel was away out of town, so they had to wait until he comes back, and they couldn't give it out because he's the one who had to okay this michtov. This was based on the previous michtov, and there are more things. The same thing happened with the Tzemach Tzedek. The Rebbe's name is the same as the Tzemach Tzedek, and the Rebbe's name is also the same as the Tzemach Tzedek's Rebbetzin. When the Tzemach Tzedek's Rebbetzin passed away, the Tzemach Tzedek's, there were minhagim that changed. The Tzemach Tzedek was nostalgic. He passed away 6 years after his Rebbetzin. And the same thing happened with our Rebbe. The Rebbetzin passed away in 1988. 6 years later was Gimel Tammuz. So, going back to the mitzvah, this mitzvah was in that year, and there is a reason for this. I think it has to do, maybe connected with later on with the tzavua, which I cannot speak about it today. But I'm going to start with just a few inyonim that the Rebbe spoke on Shabbos Nachmu, Pashas Vos Chanon in 1988. At that Farbringen, the Rebbe said about the need to increase in all matters of holiness. As the Gemara says in Tainis, that from Chamisha Osar B'Yov, the Moisif Yosef. With the 15th of Av, it's brought down in Gemara that from this day and on, one who increases in Torah study shall have life added to him. Although the directive to constantly ascend in holiness applies the entire year. But the 15th of Av is very unique. Once a year, it says with this opportunity to be Moisif in learning. Now, in plain words, one must increase, the Rebbe said by Farbringen, in all matter of goodness and holiness, Torah and mitzvahs and deeds that are lifnim mishuras hadin. That's what he spoke then. The purpose, he said, of a hisvadus, what is the purpose of a Farbringen? Is not to state that a person must increase in his own Torah mitzvahs. These things are simple. The purpose of a Farbringen is to inspire other Jews to also increase their efforts. Then the Rebbe was saying at that Farbringen, some argue that they must keep their accomplishment in secret, because it says, Hatznei leches im Hashem Elokecha. Walk humble with Eibishter. So they kept it in the secret. They add that this is why they keep it a secret. That's what they said. However, the Rebbe said, it has been seen that when things are not kept secret, they work out better. As the Mishnah states, if only the fear of heaven upon you would be like the fear of flesh and blood. And then the Rebbe also mentioned about Mashiach. This happened on Shabbos Nachamu, 1988. Sunday after that Shabbos, the Rebbe went to the Oyel. Monday, the 18th of Av, it was a Monday, the Rebbe asked Rabbi Groner to call in to his room to his two maskirim, Rabbi Chadakov and Rabbi Mindel. And he gave them a brand new shlichus. And now I'm going to read what Rabbi Mindel and Rabbi Chadakov wrote in Hebrew. What was this yichidus? Only to those two. And the Rebbe said, today, the 18th of Menachem Av, this was after Mincha. Rabbi Mindel and Rabbi Chadakov write, the Rebbe Shlita called us and appointed us to fulfill this, that the Rebbe Shlita had spoken about it at the Farbringen of Chamisha Osar B'Yov and the following Shabbos Tachmu. The Rebbe emphasized that this is the first opportunity after Shabbos and after he was at the Eyal yesterday, Sunday, to avoid wasting any time. The Rebbe urged us to relay the instructions by telephone today, and he stressed today, it was Monday, so that we can send in a list of the Askonei Anash to whom we have reached out by next week. This will enable the Rebbe to bring the list to the Ohel the next coming Sunday. What are the instructions that the Rebbe gave Rabbi Mindel and Rabbi Chadakov? Number one, every Chabad institution and the Askonei Anash in every place are to appoint a 3-member committee to see to the fulfillment of the additional Pa'ulas that the Rebbe Shlita asked for a connection with Chamisha Osar B'Ov, Kol HaMoisif, Moisif Eloi, as explained at length in the past 2 Fabri English. That's number one. Number two, the Rebbe wanted these 3 people who will be appointed are to be the Oisim Umasim, doers and actors in this initiative in their institution or neighborhood or city. These local communities are to submit a detailed report every 3 months on the real additions in their activities. These reports are not to be sent to the Rebbe. The Rebbe told him, do not send it to his other secretaries. The Rebbe had other secretaries. He had Rabbi Groner, he had Rabbi Simpson, he had Rabbi Klein. Or don't send it to even 770. Usually the mail came in 770. But this should be sent directly to the Vad Oilomi L'chol HaMoisifim at 1449 Union Street, Brooklyn, New York. This was the home of Rabbi Chadakov. And they should put on the envelope that it's sent to Rabbi Chadakov and Rabbi Mindel only. And this is very strange in Yonim. Number 3, several times a year, a gathering of the appointed committee members should be held to strengthen one another. These meetings will include a review of past accomplishments and a plan for future increased efforts. Number 4, the Rebbe said. The Rebbe emphasized a few times that this is not a time for Hatznei Leches, but rather a time to act with great enthusiasm. Mit dem ganzen Sturm, he said. The primary focus, as stressed by the Rebbe, is intangible actions and a real increase in positive deeds. This happened on Monday. Then they write the next day, Tuesday, it was already the 19th of Av, at 1:30 p.m., that was before Mincha, Rabbi Mindel received a call from Rabbi Groner. The Rebbe had asked him to contact either Rabbi Chadakov or Mindel regarding a report of their activities And it would be a good thing if the report were ready before Mincha. Wow. Rabbi Mindel managed to submit an initial report in time for the Rebbe to read immediately after Mincha. Had to be done very fast. This is the report that Rabbi Mindel sent to the Rebbe, and I'm going to read you the report, and it's written in Hebrew, and I'll translate it. After the Yechidas that took place yesterday after Mincha, Rabbi Chadakov and I sat down in his office to transcribe what the Rebbe told us and to give a name and address to the new institution so that we can immediately begin to reach out to the Askonei Anash worldwide. After we organized the above, we informed Rabbi Krinsky and asked him to organize a worldwide telephone conference so that the instructions can be relayed immediately to all the head Askonei Anash, who in return will relay it to the counties and cities that they are in touch with. The telephone conference was scheduled for last night at 10 p.m. Rabbi Krinsky informed me that the conference took place and several participants requested the instructions to be sent to them by fax. At any rate, they all sat to do all they can in this area. And within the hour, we already received positive reports. Now, by the way, I have all the reports. I probably will not have time today to share it with you, but in Mitzvah Shem next week, I will share you the names and the reports from who sent and what they sent, and the Rebbe looked it over. Sometimes the Rebbe made comments. I have the original right here. To be continued, yesterday, we called Rabbi Kunin, this is Rabbi Midel writing, who gladly took upon himself to inform all shluchim in California about that. Likewise, we called Rabbi Avram Shem Tov, who will relay the message to all those who he can contact. Then Rabbi Midel writes, I asked Rabbi Krinsky to make a list of all the people and institutions who were contacted so we can inform the Rebbe Shlita right away. And Rabbi Mindel signs this letter. Now, on Wednesday, this was already Chof of, a memo to Rabbi Chadakov on the stationery of Vad Ha'olomi L'chol HaMeisifim. Remember, that's the word, that was the mitzvah called Vad Ha'olomi L'chol HaMeisifim. And I'm going to read to you the memo from Rabbi Mindel to Rabbi Chadakov. To the Honorable Rabbi Chadakov, Shlita from Rabbi Mindel. After writing about the call from Rabbi Groner and report to the Rebbe, I also faxed a copy of the report to you through Rabbi Klein. If you have any comments, please let me know. I'm just letting you know how the whole thing went. Regarding the future, Baruch Hashem, he writes, we already managed to do most of the work regarding publicizing this new directive. However, the Rebbe Shlita's directive is not only for the shluchim worldwide, but also for every institution to appoint a 3-member committee. Now, obviously, Every institution must already have oversight. But this is a new directive that entails new oversight for additional activities. Therefore, every institution must appoint a vad who will report to the vad ho'olomi, appointed by the Rebbe Shlita, just as all shluchim are doing. Now, it's already the end of the summer, and you know how it is. Most of the institutions aren't running on their regular schedule. The members of the Hanhole are also scattered all over the place, and it's very hard to get hold of them on the phone right now. On the other hand, we have to get moving on this because it's connected to the start of the new school year, which is right around the corner. However, appointing the three individuals is something that can and should be done. It's important that this should be done as quickly as possible to get these three, at least that, and we should be let known about. Therefore, my advice is regarding the moistes. Maybe the best thing is to reach out in writing with a michtav kloli, and then send a copy to each moisted individually. And since Baruch Hashem, we have people visiting and traveling from all different cities and countries, it should be possible to send it to all moisdes in each country through a shliach. Now, if this is in line with your view, maybe you could be so kind as to draft a michtav kloli, or at least the main points, the nekudas, and then I, bli neder, will try to prepare the final wording, and then your people can get this letter out to each and every moised. And Rabbi Mindel signs. Then he writes a P.S. If you think it's correct, surely you will present a copy of this memo, or at least the main points, to the Rebbe Shlita, and it can serve as another partial duch, a report. In the meantime, we should get the envelopes ready for this letter that needs to go out to all moisdes, wherever they are. And maybe, with Hashem's help, we can manage to get them sent out this week and get a response back by next week, in time for Yom Kippur Cotton of Elul, Erev Rosh Chodesh, in accordance with the Hero of the Rebbe Shlita. They had to do it, everything very fast. Can you imagine? They had to send, get ready. Then they had to have a report and give it to the Rebbe before going to Real. That's what the Rebbe wanted. Now, a second memo from Rabbi Mindel to Rabbi Chadikov after this. He writes like this: Baruch Hashem, 26th of Menachemov, to the Honorable Rabbi Chadikov Shlita. Today, before Mincha time, Rabbi Groner Shlita telephoned me and relayed the answer of the Rebbe Shlita to my partial duch report from the 19th of Menachemov. This is the text. Niskabel u'tshuas chein meiroi shalem shech duch lebekel tzarayim hey pashas rei. Niskabel v'duch, it was received and warm thanks in advance for the follow-up report by morning, by noon, on Thursday, Parshas Rei. That's what the Rabbi answered. I told Rabbi Leibel Groner that he should relay this this answer to you, to Rabbi Chalikov, either before or after Mincha, and to add that I will be at home in case you wish to telephone me about this. Now, for the time being, I have no material whatsoever for the follow-up duch, aside from what you already informed me of facts and balpeh, orally, from Rabbi Yehuda Krinsky Shlita. I have still not received anything, nor have I heard from him. I do not know how I will be able to fulfill the will of the Rebbe Shlita based on the above answer unless I receive all the material that has arrived at the World Committee office no later than tomorrow, Wednesday evening, by midnight, and there is no need for all the material, but rather a summary of reports that have been received and will be received up to the time. I must emphasize a summary of the reports because we cannot be matriach, we cannot trouble the Rabbi Shlita with every single thing that is received by our office, whether in writing orally. So it is almost certain that this is not the Rebbe's intention, but rather to hear about the actual practical results with the most wording possible. Furthermore, we must as soon as possible set up a permanent seder, a system for delivering the follow-up reports to the Rebbe Shlita. It seems that this should be done directly from the office of the World Committee, it's Rabbi Chalikov's home, and from one source and one channel to prevent duplication of effort time. In my opinion, Rabbi Yudel Krinsky is on site. If he's able and willing to accept this task upon himself, either by himself or together with help from someone else, then that would be the best. However, he should send a copy of the duch to me in the format mentioned, meaning a summary, before it is sent to the Rebbe Shlita. And I am sure you will also want to lay your eyes on the report beforehand. Understandably, much technical work is involved in this new Miftzah campaign, which will require manpower. And all of this requires planning and organization. Thanks in advance for your response in all above. So the Vada Masifim, the launch day Miftzah, and after what we just read, thousands of duchs started pouring in from around the world, from yeshivas, shluchim, meisdes, camps, and more. The duchs were written in extremely, nice or manner by Rabbi Mindel and Chadakov together with his son Sholem Yisrael. Rabbi Chadakov's son helped out, and the duchs. I have no time today to read the duchs, and sometimes the Rebbe. I have the original here. The Rebbe was holding every duch. The Rebbe read all the names. This was from camps, from Eretz Yisrael, from the United States, from Australia, from Brazil, from Argentina, from all over the world came in pouring duchs, and this is what the Rebbe wanted. And in Mitzvah next week, I will continue about this Miftzah. Thank you.